welcome back to It's My Project and I Will Cry If I Want To. This week's video is going to be a little bit different. I know you guys are used to seeing me work on my crane, but this channel is really about me working on all my projects, and I got to get ready for mowing season, just like a lot of you, I bet. So I'm going to go ahead and do some work on my Cub Cadet 1015 lawn tractor for this week. I hope you enjoy that. So I actually bought this lawn tractor last mowing season when my push mower died on me kind of partway through mowing the yard one day. I just hopped on Marketplace, literally standing in my yard on my phone, and I was like, you know, cheapest, closest mower that I can get, and this riding mower came up and it was right down the road, and the guy actually was nice enough to deliver it to me. I only paid $75 for the thing. Of course, it needed a bunch of stuff, you know, it needed a battery, it needed rear tires, and you know, it wasn't running real good. It's still not running great. That's one of the things that I'm hoping to address coming up here this season. But since it made it through last year, I decided, you know what, this year it deserves some love. I'm gonna go ahead, try and get it tip-top shape, throw some new parts at it, throw some elbow grease into it, and hopefully have a good, reliable mower for this year and years to come too. Just wanted to get a little before and after footage here. I'm gonna clean this thing up and then I'll pull it in and we can talk about what I'm gonna do to it. So first things first, I'm going to drain the oil, refill it, do a little oil change on it, and then after that I'm going to look it over some, figure out what all I want to do, and I'll come back and tell you guys what the plan is for what parts and what fixes we're going to try and do on this before the mowing season this year. So I read that this takes about 1.5 quarts of oil, and I picked up some SAE 30 from Rural King, obviously not a sponsor. Now I've read, this is just conventional oil, but it is got detergent in it. I read some people saying, you know, these filterless engines don't run detergent. I think that's kind of a old sentiment. Most people say just run regular SAE 30 with detergent. You can even run synthetic, would be better, they say. I went with this conventional SAE 30. Leave a comment about your opinion on that down below. Let me know what you think. Am I gonna screw up my engine? Am I doing the right thing? We're gonna find out. I'm really not sure how you're supposed to read the measurements on this, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you're here, I mean, I don't think they mean anything. This is just random lines on the side of the container where your sight glass is. So that's kind of stupid. So this is going to take a little trial and error. But we can always use the dipstick. Looks like the dipstick's saying we're about full already. Try and get this thing started now. The battery might be dead. We're gonna find out. And then after it runs for a second, we'll shut it off and let the oil settle and check again. Well, that tends to be how these things go. So when I got to the mower this year, this spark plug wire actually was hanging off, and I didn't take it off. And I think it's pretty well corroded inside. I did just try and check for spark. I took the spark plug out, grounded it against one of these bolts with it in the wire, and I actually started getting shocked right through the casing here. So this wire is obviously not well insulated and corroded in the end of it. And I think that's why I'm not getting any spark and I can't get it to start. So I did fill up with oil and I did crank it over now, so at least I'll be able to check the oil and make sure it's good, make sure I'm not getting any leaks out of that plug. And once I get a new plug wire, I'll put that on, hopefully, and get this thing running, and I can double check the oil after that. So what do we need to do to this mower? So first things first, obviously the spark plug wire needs replaced. I'm gonna get a new air filter for it. There's actually there's like supposed to be a pre-filter element on it. I was looking at the parts diagram. That didn't even come with it, so we're gonna put that on it too. When I bought it, I put new rears on it because one of them was completely bad, but the fronts are in terrible shape. Obviously they are, let me see if I can show you a little better. Obviously they are running tubes in here right now, and you can see it's just falling apart, cracked like crazy. I'm surprised it made it through the season, because pretty soon it's just gonna fall apart. The tube's gonna get punctured, whatever. So we're gonna get some new front tires on it. We're gonna get a fuel filter for it. We're gonna go ahead and get a carburetor refresh kit, I think they call it. It's basically rebuild kit, refresh kit for the carb. Hopefully get that apart, get that in there, get it all cleaned out in there, make sure we're tip top in there. We need a deck hanger. So let's see if I can show you one of these. They're different front and rear, but there's two on front and two on rear. There's one of the front ones, and it's not in too bad a shape. But if you were to pull it out, you'd see that bottom piece, and I'll show you one of those closer, it's pretty worn, and I'm actually missing the rear hanger back here. I was missing it all year when I was mowing, but we made it through. So this year we're gonna go ahead and fix that up. So this is the piece that screws up onto that hanger, and then actually the deck rides on, or rides up in the frame. And they're pretty worn out on the other ones, but this one actually is completely stripped out. Basically the threads rusted completely out of it, and the matching threads, as you can see, the matching threads on the actual hanger are pretty much gone too. I was thinking about just making some of these parts, but they're pretty available, so I think we're probably just gonna buy these. So this starter gear is something that we're definitely gonna have to get a new one of. It managed somehow to get me through the year last year, and it still actually tries to start the mower, but you can see a lot of these teeth are really damaged. And it's some kind of plastic type gear, so it's not too surprising it meshes with a metal gear up here. But I think mostly what it's from is when it goes up to engage, sometimes the corner of the teeth would hit and get stuck and chewed up. So that's not great, but we're gonna get one of these on order. I think you can. Another thing I'm gonna try and get is a washer for here. So this has a little bit of a gap there and has some play side to side. And on the other side, I'll show you. There's a washer here that takes up that room that's missing on the other side. So it looks like we're gonna need spark plug wire, we're gonna need washer for the wheel, deck hangers, we're gonna need air filter, the pre-filter element, we're gonna go with a fuel filter, carburetor refresh kit I think, and maybe we'll look into a seat at some point, but for right now I'll probably hold off on that. Front tires, trying to think, the starter pieces, and I think that's it. So I guess you'll see me again once some parts arrive and we'll get to putting them on the mower and getting this thing in tip-top shape. Well, that's not good. So I got a little hasty and I ordered a bunch of parts already. And then I took this cover off and realized this wire is chewed all up. And I figured you could just replace it. But it looks like you have to replace the whole piece here. And so I'm going to try and clean out this mouse nest and maybe tape this up and see if it'll fire up. But I think permanent solution would be to get the whole piece. I don't really want to just leave that taped up. We'll see if it works. Alright, it's time to start putting some more of these parts onto the Cub Cadet, I think. So the tires came. These should be the front tires for it. I got my pre-filter element. I've got my fuel filter, which I think I'm going to probably try and get some new fuel lines too. I've got my starter gear. I've got a carb kit, but I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and put that on today or not. That might not happen today. I've got this washer spacer thing. The rear wheel, I believe is what that's for. And I've got the air filter itself. So I'll probably knock out some of the easy stuff first, get some momentum rolling, air filters and whatnot, and then might try and tackle these tires tonight, but they could be a bear. The last time I did tires, the rear tires, I pretty much had to cut them off of the rim because they were so stuck I couldn't get the bead to break. So we'll see how that goes. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and do this air filter. I noticed the last time I was in here that one of these thumb screws has a rubber washer on the bottom of it. Not that one. This one. So I assume the other one is lost. So I think what I'll do is I'll measure this while I have it apart and then just see if I can either make or get one. I don't think it's a huge deal. I think it'll be okay without it for right this second, but out with the old. And just for any of you following along who might care what the part number is for this filter cartridge, in case you have yourself a tractor like mine, make sure it is the right one. Sure looks like it's gonna work. Sure looks a lot cleaner. And now, something that was completely missing since I bought this tractor. I didn't even know it was supposed to have it until I looked at the parts diagram. Which, let me go ahead and... There's your part number for that. This is the filter, like a pre-filter element. I don't know what exactly you call it, but slips over that. Okay, well that seems like it's not gonna fit, but I'm pretty sure this is where it goes. All right. And last but not least, our cover. All right, air filter is done. Next, I think I might look at the fuel filter here. So step one for changing this fuel filter is gonna be to drain the fuel tank, because I'm gonna change these lines out too, so I just wanna drain it out. Unfortunately, I just filled my gas jug, so all I've got is 1 gallon antifreeze containers. I got 2 of them. That should be enough, I hope. Not sure how much is gonna come backwards out of this carburetor, but I guess we'll find out. And I'm not sure how much is in the tank either. Hopefully this is the right tool for the job here. I think we're gonna slice that because I don't want to break off whatever is coming out of the tank. I don't know if it's metal or plastic or what it is, but we don't want to mess it up. So instead of really yanking on this, we're just gonna slice that. I got some fuel line, bought extra, so I do have some on hand. And I got some regular hose clamps, screw style, but I think I'm gonna try and use the 3 that I have of these spring style clamps, and then eventually replace the 4th one with one of these if I can. First piece. And for your fuel filter part number, and we do have to use one of these hose clamps for now on this. See any leaks yet? I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of it in. So unfortunately, this part is definitely not the right part for the rear wheel, the little spacer or washer or whatever that I'm missing on the one side. I must have just picked the wrong piece out of the parts diagram or something. I don't know if I'll just order another one. I think I'm gonna have to make another order at some point anyway for some more parts for this. So maybe I'll just order another one, or I might end up taking the one I do have off of that rear wheel and see if I can just source a washer or make something, that'll just work as the spacer for that. So the next thing that I want to install is this starter gear. Mine's got a bunch of teeth that are messed up on it, and it's just a plastic gear that goes on there. I'm not exactly sure how it goes together yet, but it looks like some kind of a clip maybe that I can squeeze here, and then there's a few pieces involved. So I guess I'm just gonna see if I can figure it out. Well, it looks like maybe there's a pin through here. The only good hammer that I have happens to be pretty big, so I'm just gonna have to try and be a little light with my taps here. There's our roping. And now I assume, yes, that will pull off there. There's a little washer there. So there's this spring-loaded piece, and then there's a little washer in there and another piece, and I don't really know what they all are. But that spring and everything helps return the gear, which rides this little spiral here on its way up. And here's that gear. So as you can see, the one corner, the top corner of a bunch of the teeth are really messed up. Our new one, if we can show you a comparison here. Hopefully you can see the difference. All chewed up. Nice new gear. Like that. Don't. I think I'll just give that a little shot. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it and just see that that engages right. I don't expect it'll start, especially because I just drained all that fuel and it probably won't get fuel right away, but well, it's working, sort of. Okay, I guess that works. So the other day we got the oil changed. Now we've got the new fuel filter, we got the new air filter and the pre-filter, the new starter gear, and now I think it's time that I investigate these front tires. So I'm gonna go ahead and block the mower up and take the front wheels off and probably try and mess with them a little bit, but I think they're gonna be really hard to break the bead on. And at work there's a tire machine, and it's designed for bigger tires, but I might be able to get it to help me at least break the bead on these, and then that way I can manually change them over. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that blocked up, get them ripped off, and give them a little shot and see how they seem. Looks like we have a bolt, which I probably should have broke loose before I took all the weight off, but let's see if this little impact maybe will do it. You sure will. Just so you can maybe see a little better that they are very much shot. And in the tread as well. It's kind of hard to get to see. There you go. You can see like that is all just cracks, big cracks. If this wasn't tubed, I'm sure it would be just leaking air everywhere. I'm surprised no chunks have come out of it yet. So we'll get those swapped out. I've got my mini grease gun, and these have a grease fitting here, which I don't think I've ever actually greased before because I didn't realize it was here. But I should be able to get this down off the blocks now. That'll work. So that's pretty much the Cub Cadet licked for right now. I would like to get those carburetor parts on, but I actually need to mow this weekend with this. And I'm a little bit scared that if I go ahead and take the carburetor off and start tearing into it, something may go wrong, and or maybe I don't have the right parts, or I don't have all the parts that I need. Maybe there's a gasket that I don't have or something. And once I'm, torn apart, I don't really have anything to mow with. And since this is, right now it runs, drives, mows, it just doesn't run quite right, and I'd like to get that carb sorted out. I think it's better to just leave it for now, get the mowing done, and then right after I'm done mowing, I'll go ahead and hopefully tear into that, and I'll record some of that if I can and show you how that goes. But for right now, I'll get mowed, then get it torn apart. Then I have at least some time before I have to mow again where I can get new parts if I need new parts, or whatever happens, I can figure it out. So I'm sorry if I disappointed anybody who was hoping to come here for a crane video this week, but I had to get this Cub Cadet running. It's taken up some of my time. Got to mow this year, obviously. And I really want this channel to be about all of the projects that I get into and all the things I work on, not just the crane. Hopefully there's lots of projects to come in the future. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. If you like this better than the crane, let me know. And hopefully I'll have all kinds of things in the future for us to work on together.